Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope all of you are doing well. Want to welcome you all to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Lost Boys: The Tribe. This is a sequel that came out in 2008, and this was a film that kind of fell under the radar at the time during its release. I wasn't even aware that this movie was coming out until I saw the trailer with the introduction of Corey Feldman, letting people know that they can see the premiere of, Lost Boys: The Tribe trailer. And apparently it had been announced, I think, maybe a couple years. They were doing the Two Corey's TV series at the time before its release. And I don't know if it was during season 1 or if it was during season 2 that they, were doing filming for that film, because I know there was episodes, relating to, behind the scenes and stuff like that. I kind of lost interest in the Two Coreys, I think maybe during season 1. I don't know if I finished season 1 or if I had just lost interest within the middle of the season. But at the time, I wasn't even aware Lost Boys was getting a sequel. So let's, fast forward to 2008, we get the Lost Boys sequel. And at the time of its release, I did buy it day one. It was a day one purchase for me. And this is way before Blu-ray. No, Blu-rays were out, but I don't think Lost Boys: The Tribe ended up getting one, because I think like the early days of Blu-ray, not every film was getting a release. It's kind of interesting that you start to see a pattern over the years of how Blu-rays were being released. I mean, we went from, certain films getting the release and them being pricey, then they start to become affordable, and then I think at one point, I remember Blu-rays, one film would have multiple Blu-rays. You would have to pay extra for you'd have to pay extra for specific releases. I remember going into Walmart, and I think it was The Sitter as a great example. Oh, I can buy the DVD for $20. I can buy the Blu-ray for... No, it was DVD was $15. I think the Blu-ray was like $20, but it was just the standard. Or I can pay $25 for the unrated DVD combo pack. And it's like, well, why would I want to do that? So it was just weird how over the years, the releases of films for Blu-ray have changed a lot, and now here we are in 4K. But at that time, it wasn't available on Blu-ray. Blu-rays were starting to slowly be a thing. So at that time, it was just a DVD. Bought it day one. And my first time watch, I really enjoyed it. But after over the years of revisiting this movie, how do I feel about it now? This movie, I still enjoy it for what it is, but this movie is all over the place. This movie, you can definitely tell, is a remake, and it does have, sequel elements to it, but it's clear as day that they intended to do a remake. And it's kind of similar to, like, Fright Night 2, what is it, New Blood, where it's like a remake of Part 1 and 2 together, but they consider it as a sequel, which makes no sense. And that's kind of where we're at with Lost Boys: The Tribe. We have two siblings who I believe move in with their aunt. I think it's like a little guest house or something like that. And they are related to one of the characters from the first movie. They don't even tell us who they're related to, which is unfortunate. We do meet a gang of vampires, which is kind of similar to the first film. I will state, I do like the fact that Kiefer Sutherland's brother is the leader of this group of vampires. I thought that was a pretty cool and a little nice nod in some way. But you have, of course, the leader, finding interest in the sister and slowly turns her. And then it's up to the brother with the help of Edgar Frog, of course, played by Corey Feldman, who is reprising his role to, stop this group and save his sister. And in doing so, of course, he has to become a vampire and make sure he follows the rules of not, making a kill so he can turn back. And yeah, that's kind of what the plot is. Corey Feldman's decent. He's got some great one-liners, but, like, I don't know. He kind of shows up, I would say, here and there, but really, you get to see more time with him more towards the end. The actor in this film, the main lead, is, I believe, Tad Hildenberg or something like that. I believe that's his name. He, you know, a couple years before this, he would do American Pie Presents Bandcamp, and then he did the Hills Run Red horror film, which is a highly recommended film if you guys haven't seen it. It's a weird horror film. It's different, but I do enjoy that, and it's worth the watch. But yeah, with this, it felt like the script was all over the place. You know, the writers or the directors or whoever was in charge of this movie, you could tell they didn't know what direction to go with. You know, it was like, oh, are we going to go with a sequel? Are we going to go with a remake? What are we doing with this film? And that's what we got. And that's why a lot of people don't like this movie. The ratings for this are really, really bad. And I would say if you're curious and you want to check it out, give it a first time watch. But if you're not curious, then don't watch it. I would not recommend this movie. It's just something I like. I don't know what it is about this movie that I like. Maybe it's the fact that it is a Lost Boys sequel. I am a fan of Corey Feldman. You know, I grew up watching his movies. So it's hard to say, but I wish they would have done a little bit better with this. Now, Corey Haim does get a small cameo more towards the end. I would say it's more of like a post-credit scene than anything. And that's alright for the most part. It doesn't really explain anything with him. You don't get any explanation on why he's a vampire. You don't get any explanation on what happened to any of the other characters. Now, they kind of mention that the siblings' parents did die in I believe they, you know, were killed in a car accident, but that's kind of what you get from the story. You get no explanation on who they're related to. Are they related to Sam? Are they related to Michael? Did Michael marry Star? You know, there's no explanation, and you can definitely tell this is what we call a cash grab. This is where a popular film gets an unwanted sequel, and it happens many, many times. A great example I can use is the Van Wilder films. The Van Wilder films did end up having two follow-ups, a sequel and a straight-to-home video release prequel. And I will have to give where credit is due because I can't deny that the sequel to Van Wilder is actually really good. But still, it's kind of like that cash grab where, you know, you're not having anybody from the original return. And that's where we are here. Now, I get you can't bring everybody back, but I think they could have let me rephrase that. I think they could have done better and put more of an effort into at least maybe getting a couple actors and maybe actually acknowledging the events of the first film rather than what we got. So, with that being said, I wish I could say more about this movie, but I can't because it is what it is. And if you guys have seen it, then let me know what your thoughts are on this movie. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, it's much appreciated. And until next time, guys, I'm Film Talk with Mikey, and we'll talk films.